Oi, you know what time it is? You're tuned in listening to Dry That Aussie Metal Guy. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his content when it drops. And remember, stay brutal, you mad dogs. Roof.
Okay then. G'day, hey, how you all going? It's Dry That Aussie Metal Guy here with Crank.com and with Cranium Radio. So tonight, wherever you are in the world, it's a great pleasure that I have Jim and Jessie from Turkey Vulture to talk all about their latest album, which is a story of my life on the list. Cheers for joining me, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Absolute pleasure, guys. How have the last 2 years been, a few years been for you since the release of the last EP and that? I dare say you've been fairly busy with family and everything like that and trying to juggle getting out a new EP as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, on the list isn't a clever title. It's just it's just the way of life.
Yeah. Like this interview was on the list. We're like right now, 8 o'clock. We have to get the kids in bed. We have to make sure hopefully they're not gonna do anything weird up there. But yeah, we when we recorded Twist the Knife, that was our previous EP. We recorded it in the summer of 2021.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And then we put it out in early 2022. And then after that, we had another kid and I went to grad school and like all these things happened. And finally we got to a point where we could actually focus on recording more music because we had all this music, a lot of it coming from Jim that we had like on the list.
So when did you kind of dig in and start kind of working on it? Is this something you've just been able to do on, here and there where you get a little bit of spare time? Because it must make it easier at times being together and having those moments where you can kind of create music as a partnership as well as kind of juggling the kids too in between.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about, well, this is the first time for me anyway, since living with my parents, that I've lived in the same place that my drum set has been. I normally have to go somewhere else. So over the last, 5 years of Jess and I being together, it's just been nice being like, let's go jam, and just going downstairs, and that, it makes things easier while juggling everything else. Being able to be in the same place as all of your gear, I definitely think is a helpful. Well, we're lucky. Not everybody gets to do that, so.
Yeah, especially drummers.
Exactly. So tell us how the songwriting process goes for you two when constructing music, and in particular for this EP.
Well, I mean, I'd say usually one of us will write part of the song. Like one of us will write a set of lyrics or music, and then we'll bring it to the other one and add to it. So like, for instance, with Fiends Like Us, that's the single that's out now. Jim wrote the lyrics to it and I wrote the music. In a way that I could sing it.
Yeah.
And a couple of the songs, Untitled and Harvest Moon, are actually music from one of our old bands. Because we've been in bands together since 2008.
Yeah.
2008. Yeah. Long before we were ever a couple or married or anything like that. And these two songs, like, I was like, I wrote those fucking riffs. Like, I'm not letting them go.
Yeah, we went back to the well for those two.
Yeah.
And there are a number of other songs that we might revisit for the new Turkey Vulture men, but who knows?
Yeah, well, I love the sound of Turkey Vulture, as I mentioned in the interview we done a couple of years ago, Jessie. I was talking about how the different influences you guys all have as well, like with the doom. I can definitely pick the doom in there. You got the punk vibes, and I mentioned, I think, the black metal vibes that kind of come in there, and even a little bit of, you know what I mean? It has this different kind of style. And it's really great that you kind of don't peg yourself in there, Jim. But I'm pretty keen to ask you, because I did ask Jessie in the last interview if people want to check that out for a couple of years. Who are some of the bands, people, and kind of artists that kind of influenced and inspired you over your career, mate, and kind of drove you forward?
Yeah, I mean, like my introduction to rock and roll was Weird Al. And then after, well, in 1990, I was 11, and I was introduced to Guns N' Roses and Metallica on the same day. And it just so happened to be the winter before the Black Album and Use Your Illusion came out. So when those two albums came out, my parents had stopped being so strict, and I was allowed to listen to more music. and those two, Matt Sorum and Lars Ulrich were big influences on me wanting to play drums. And then there was no internet back then, so you go to the whatever music store and look at the magazines and the t-shirts that they were wearing, and I started buying all the tapes of the t-shirts that they were wearing, and they were all punk rock dudes. So that's how I got into the Misfits and Social Distortion and GBH and the Sex Pistols and the Ramones. And Prince isn't punk rock, but Duff McKagan would wear his shirts a lot. So I mean, that's how I got into. So I became more of a punk rock guy, and that's really where my drumming kind of stems from.
Okay, and tell me a little bit then, leading on from there, Jim. Tell me about how you first started picking up drums and when you first started. Tell us about that, dude.
Yeah. So I bought my first drum set when I was 15, and couldn't find anybody to play with. And so I being in a band or playing with anybody like another 10 years after that. So that first band was a death metal band, or like a thrashy death metal band, kind of like a 6 Feet Under kind of a vibe. And then after that band, I guess went on hiatus, is when I joined Big Missile and helped form Big Missile, however you want to word that, and then just joined that band. So that's the start of my drumming career in a nutshell, I guess.
Yeah, nice. First drum set, mate. What was it?
It was a CD percussion drum set. It sounded like garbage.
Yeah, they were.
The bass drum actually sounded phenomenal. I missed the bass drum, but the rest of that drum kit was not a good one.
You just got to start somewhere. You just got to dive in there and get into it.
I mean, and I bought that. I bought it off paper route money. So I was making like $20 or $40 a week. So it took a while to save up for that thing.
Definitely a labor of love. Tell us about the first single off the album, which you guys briefly mentioned as well, Fiends Like Us.
Yeah, well, I wrote the lyrics at work when I was bored. And today I wrote a poem and then just wrote the music to it. So I guess that's really what made it become a song.
It's kind of like Social Distortion, Machine Gun Blues meets Misfits.
Yeah, that's a good way. That's a good way to put it. And I mean that happened really organically, just within a day or two of sending the words to Jess being like, this could be a song, and she's like, I can sing that. And then 2 days later, she's got music. So some things happen very quickly, and other risks can last a year that you forget all about. And Jill the Ripper is one of those, or maybe even 2 years.
Jill the Ripper was like 2020.
Yeah. So I mean that song's been around. The idea of that song has been kicking around for a while. So
yeah,
it's some songs are finished very quickly, and some take a bit. So
yeah, well, that Jill the Ripper track is bloody awesome. I'm a big fan of like Murder Folk and.
Oh, thanks.
I seen Amigo the Devil when he recently come, and the Bridge City Sinners. So I love that style of music. So the moment I heard that, I was like really gravitated to that track as well. You know what I mean? Just to hear the different styles and the versatility of you guys was unreal. Tell me a little bit more about that track.
Oh, that one was fun. That was fun. We actually recorded that track with a different engineer than the other 5 songs.
Yep.
Just because that particular guy was really known for like his folk and like Americana kind of recordings. But yeah, I mean, we wrote that song in like 2020 during the pandemic. I was in like a Facebook group of women, and I think, I'm getting up there. I don't want to date myself too much, but I think we're all adult women. We're probably like a little bit younger than me, and they were dealing with these dudes, and their dudes were just so useless and like really expecting a lot from them and like offering nothing at all in return. And they're posted about it. I'm like, man, like what is wrong with these guys? So that's kind of where the idea started. It's all in jest. Um, but yeah, and then like it just kind of sat in the notebook for a couple of years, and I don't know what made us get back to it this summer.
Well,
Yeah.
you would mention it every now and then, but yeah, it's finally
Yeah, like I really liked the lyrics and I wanted to flesh it out, but I also knew that it would take like a different style of guitar that I'm used to playing. So I also knew that this guy we recorded with, his name is Steve Rogers. I knew that he would be able to help us out on that if we needed it. And then he was great, and he suggested that Jim do the vocals too. So we did it together. Is that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the first time. So like I'm guest vocally on that and things like that. I took him the album with my voice.
You do.
Yeah,
You do.
that's an egotistical thing to say, but
Yes, and I knew the other.
yeah, no, yeah,
So,
it's a new thing.
It,
yeah.
it definitely is. Tell us about the tracks that she's come back to as well. I think it was you're talking Untitled, and was it Harvest Moon or?
Yeah, Untitled and Harvest Moon, those ones.
Yeah, what was it like
Um,
coming back to them and reworking them and kind of bringing them into the now and for what you guys are doing, the sound and style that fits Turkey Vulture?
well, I got to write a bass line for Untitled
Yeah.
because I never had before. I always I just wrote it, and the guitarist played that, and then sometimes I was a guitarist and I played it, and then when I was a bass player, that's what I played pretty much, like except for a little harmony here and there. So it was cool to write like an actual different bass line for it. As far as the lyrics go, those are probably the most personal lyrics on the album. Um, and then Harvest Moon, like that one was kind of hard to write lyrics to. And it ended up being about a Scooby-Doo movie.
I seen that in the emails, and
Yeah.
it made me think of like movies that I'd had to sit and watch with my kids over and over again as well. It's like a parent's right of, I got 3 daughters, so, and they're all
Mhm.
varying ages. So it'd be times where they'd be stuck on one movie and you just have to play it
Mhm.
all day pretty well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then get up the
Yeah.
next day and all day again, which is cool. Yeah, I miss
Mhm.
those times now, and it kind of made me think
Uh-huh.
about all of that as well.
Yeah. Well, if you ever get bored, watch Scooby Doo and Zombie Island. That's pretty much Harvest Moon.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I mean, this is silly, but something, and I'm not like a Scooby-Doo expert. I think I've watched 3 movies now.
Mm.
But like in this movie, the ghosts are real.
Yeah.
Like it's not a bad guy in a mask. Like the supernatural cat werewolves are real.
No spoilers.
Sorry.
That's awesome. I used to watch a lot of Scooby-Doo as a kid too, so it's really good to see that keep going on as well. Adults Destroy. I feel this track pretty well as the short, fast one, but yeah, straight to the point. And actually, watched the little bit of live footage you guys had of that over there on YouTube as well, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, that was a fun one to perform.
Quick and easy.
Yeah. It was surprisingly hard to record.
Yeah, was that
Fun to
track?
perform.
Was that one something that was based on? I think I was reading somewhere that it was based on something from years ago, a magazine or something. You and your brother or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
had done. Yeah.
Yeah, so my stepmom gave me this box that had been in my family's basement full of like kid memorabilia. Um, and then last Christmas, well, actually all of us had COVID. And so we're sitting at home, not able to go anywhere. I'm like, all right, well, let's go through this box. And I found this magazine that my little brother and I had made. Um, and it was called like the Children's Magazine. And then it was all like these little stick figures of kids, like in little tree houses that say like no grown-ups. And then they had like little signs that said poo on grown-ups. And all this like the stuff you think of when you're 8 years old. And one of the signs said adults destroy. And I was like, that's a song.
That's it. No truer words have been spoken. How's the live
Yeah.
scene going? Are you guys able to get out and play many shows? You got anything planned for the launch? What's the go? Have you got anything in the works at the moment, or can you even announce anything? Or
Or like you.
I mean, we're October 25th was when the CD is released, and
Yeah.
I guess that's going to be on Spotify the same day. And they played what last month or so.
Yeah.
So I guess like we're on like at every other few months kind of vibe for shows. Sometimes we're very busy, other times we're not.
Mhm.
It's, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, it's nice to obviously like play shows and do the local stuff, but it's also nice to, talk to people in Australia.
Being able to reach.
that's it.
Music,
And it's good to know that people are playing your music all over the bloody place as well. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's a really good feeling.
It's
Yeah.
great that people can stream it, but it's also good when people can go over and actually support the band, i.e., buy merch, buy the album, or even buy the digital copies. So that being said, where's the best place that people can get along and support Turkey Vulture and all you stuff you've got going on?
Say Bandcamp.
Yeah, Bandcamp and
Yeah, we got we'll have the CDs on there. Obviously the digital downloads. We also have some t-shirts, some patches.
yeah.
You know.
And we've got a YouTube page, and hopefully we'll grow some more content. But we've got that kicking. And then Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I guess,
love
Yeah,
platforms like Bandcamp as well, and it is important to bring up because I know the fucking state of the music scene is just kind of a little bit broken at the moment. It feels because I'm aging myself as well, but I come from the generation where you like a band, you go and buy the album, you support it, you know what I mean. You listen to the whole album,
Yeah.
you pick out the deeper cuts. This generation, I think that they forget sometimes just liking a band. It's great to get all the streams up and listens, but it's also good to support a band that you love. So, to keep the scene going strong, it's important for people to remember to get along and buy even just a digital copy over on Bandcamp. It sits on your phone. You got perfect quality as well. So I always think it's good to highlight that for everyone that's watching. You love Turkey Vulture. You've made it this far. You obviously do. Go buy the bloody album and support the guys. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there before we sign out?
Well, we definitely want to say thank you to Curtis and Corey and C Squared Music. I mean, they're super helpful to us. And thank you for caring about our band all the way on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
No, absolute bloody pleasure. Everybody go out, grab some Turkey Vulture. On the list does drop, of course, October 25th. They've already got the Fiends Like Us album. They got a heap of stuff over there on Bandcamp. Go grab it, support the band, crank it really bloody loud. The neighbours are going to want to hear it too. Cheers, guys.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.